Every gardener knows the feeling. Fall rolls around, leaves start piling up, and there's a familiar rush to dump everything into a compost bin that may or may not finish breaking down before spring. But what if there was a simpler way? A way that didn't involve turning piles, chasing carbon to nitrogen ratios, or waiting half a year just to sift through half-rotted scraps. There is, and it's one of the oldest and most efficient soil-building tricks in regenerative gardening. The secret isn't in the compost pile at all. It's in the layering method that lets nature do the composting right in your garden bed while you rest through winter. By spring, that layered bed transforms into dark, crumbly soil, alive, nutrient-rich and ready for planting without ever having lifted a shovel. The secret to fall layering lies in mimicking a forest floor. In nature, no one turns a compost heap. Leaves fall, moisture seeps through, worms drag down organic matter, and microbes do the rest. The result is humus, black, spongy, nutrient-rich soil that supports every tree, fern, and wildflower. That natural process is exactly what this fall method replicates. Instead of separating your organic matter into piles, you build thin layers of brown and green materials directly on your garden soil, then let decomposition happen in place. What's key here is contact with the earth. Traditional compost piles often sit on top of soil, isolated from the microbes and worms that drive decomposition, but when your layers are placed right on the ground, the biology of your soil immediately begins to interact with the organic matter. Worms migrate upward to feed, bacteria multiply, and fungi thread through the material, knitting it together into a living mat of decay and renewal. This process begins within days, especially if you add moisture and a little nitrogen boost. The first step is building the foundation with carbon. The base of your fall layer should be carbon-rich, dry materials that structure the composting process and absorb excess moisture. Fallen leaves are ideal. Shredded cardboard, paper, straw, or even old mulch work just as well. Spread a layer about 3 to 4 inches thick directly over the soil surface. If you're dealing with compacted or poor soil, you'll want to loosen the top few inches with a fork before laying down your carbon layer. That small effort really makes a big difference, opening channels for worms and air to move freely between soil and mulch. The next step is adding nitrogen-rich materials to kickstart decay. This is where the magic happens. Nitrogen is the fuel that feeds bacteria and accelerates the breakdown of carbon. Instead of hauling kitchen waste to a compost pile, just layer it directly over your leaves. Vegetable scraps, grass clippings, coffee grounds, and spent plant material from your summer garden all fit perfectly here. Keep the layer thin, around 2 inches, and make sure to spread it evenly. For gardeners with livestock access, a sprinkle of fresh manure adds a serious microbial charge, but even if you're relying solely on kitchen scraps, you can enhance the process naturally. Pour a light layer of diluted molasses or compost tea, just enough to dampen the materials and attract microbial activity. For ratios, use roughly 1 part nitrogen-rich material to 2 parts carbon by volume. This balance prevents rot and odor while maintaining steady decomposition through the cold months. Alright, so let's top everything with another 3-inch layer of leaves straw or partially decomposed mulch. This final blanket serves 3 purposes. It insulates, retains moisture, and prevents pest disturbance. The heat generated by microbial activity will stay trapped underneath, keeping decomposition active even in cool conditions. Now, if your climate experiences freezing temperatures, it's a good idea to water the pile well before frost sets in. Moisture is essential because, well, dry material halts microbial movement. During winter, it might seem like nothing's happening. The bed will appear dormant, even lifeless, but below the surface, an entire ecosystem is in motion. Fungi begin to digest the woody layers, bacteria multiply within the soft scraps, and worms start pulling the material down into the soil profile. By mid-spring, that layered structure collapses into rich, dark humus. You'll be able to push your hand straight through it and see the transformation, leaf fragments turned into silky black soil, teeming with life. So, here's how you can take it further with local waste materials. This method shines because it adapts to whatever materials you have available. Gardeners surrounded by trees can rely heavily on leaf litter, Urban growers can substitute with shredded paper or cardboard collected from recycling bins. Grass clippings, spent vegetable plants, and even old compost can form the nitrogen layer. The goal is variety. The broader the range of materials, the more balanced the nutrient profile of your finished soil. If pests worry you, avoid layering fresh kitchen waste on top. Instead, tuck it into the middle layer or, pre-ferment it for a few days in a sealed bucket with a splash of sugar water. This partial fermentation, it breaks down the materials quickly, once added to the bed, and eliminates the scent that attracts animals. You can even use this fall layering method on raised beds that have sunk over the season. Fill the lower sections with leaves, paper, and trimmings, then cover with a few inches of compost or finished soil. By spring, the lower layers will have decomposed, naturally raising your bed height and improving structure without spending money on new soil. By spring, the results are visible in every handful of soil. When temperatures rise, just lift a small section of the top mulch. You'll notice a rich dark color underneath, along with an earthy smell that signals microbial balance. Worms will be abundant, and your soil texture will feel looser and more aerated than before. You can plant directly into this material without disturbing it. Just pull back the remaining leaf cover, sow your seeds or transplants, and replace a thin layer of mulch around the base. This process not only saves money but also restores your soil's natural fertility cycle. It requires no turning, no maintenance, and no special tools, just patience and trust in natural decomposition. The more you repeat this layering method each fall, the more resilient and self-sustaining your soil becomes. Healthy soil doesn't need complexity, it needs connection. By letting organic matter break down where it falls, you're reuniting soil life with its food source and giving nature the conditions to heal itself. So before you start another compost pile this season, try this instead. Build your layers, let winter work for you, and by spring, you'll uncover the kind of black living soil that every gardener dreams of. If this guide helped you rethink fall composting, subscribe to Hydrohaven for more regenerative gardening methods. Share this video with fellow gardeners who still believe composting needs a pile, and help spread the movement of soil that builds itself.